Everybody, welcome back to Viper's World. Hope you're having a great day. I was just walking around the Midtown area here and admiring how beautiful and like how complete it feels, but it got me thinking, you know what really isn't complete right now is the city up here. Yeah, this is looking pretty pathetic. It's a pretty sad excuse for a city right now. I mean, obviously we have this little street corner here, right, which I really like, and then last episode we went ahead and built Chicken Jockey, our lava chicken farm, in honor of the Minecraft movie. But today I was thinking we'd change that and we make some really big progress in the city. And I actually want to add in this entire block here. Yeah, this entire little section of the city. So I think we have, I don't know, 5 or 6 builds stretching like from this corner right here. And we're going to go all the way down to this tower here at the start of Castle Viper. So grab a snack, maybe even a drink, and get ready because it's building time. Raining time. Aww. Okay, here it is, you guys, in all of its blocky glory. The first build on this street in this city. I guess we'll probably have to come with street names and the city name. Let me know what you're thinking for the city name down in the comments here. But yeah, here it is. Not a lot going on, you know, on the back or the side here, by design, right? That's kind of intentional, but I wanted to make this, I don't know, kind of like this more industrially like rundown kind of building. Nothing inside yet. Not sure what's going to go in here, but I just like the idea that like you could enter on either level. And I'm thinking maybe like a blacksmith or like an armor or something. And we can have like a big forge here kind of connecting up with, if I can get out the door. There we go. Connecting up with this outside. I also wanted to mention this was inspired by a build Schuler did, which if you are not subscribed to Schuler at this point, then what are you doing? You are missing out. It is like totally common for me now to take inspiration from all of Schuler's stuff, so go check them out. And speaking of subscribing and enjoying videos and inspiration and whatnot, if you find yourself enjoying this video, then why don't you go ahead and subscribe, maybe leave a like or a comment. But no, for real, if you are enjoying yourself and you're feeling so generous as to subscribe, I would super appreciate it. And I mean, hey, that way you can go ahead and see the rest of the city, because it's going to be a couple more episodes for this, guys, but trust me, there's a lot of awesome stuff coming. Okay, back to the video. Alright, but if I want to get this city block done anytime soon, I need to get back to work. So let's hop into another time lapse and add another building right here. I know I said I was only going to do one build here, but got a little bit carried away. Obviously, there are two, right? Your eyes do not deceive you. There are two right here. So we'll go through those one by one, but let's start with this guy here. This one, and I don't like how this connects. I might change it up. So I guess just a little background on this whole street. This was actually the first, like, if I go into cheaty cam here for a second, this whole street along here, like this side, was the first street that I designed of the entire city here. So this, like, gosh, probably like 5, 6, maybe 7 months ago. So there are definitely some things that I might want to go back through and change, like this little awning. That's what it's called. I was gonna call it pavilion overhang thing. No, this is an awning. Not sure I like these, but I might change it up a little bit. But I do like that it adds a little bit more color. You know, it kind of ties in with this roof, and almost again like the castle. You know, we talked about down in Midtown how they might have designed some of their buildings to almost like honor the king and stuff, and like they very clearly look up to the people in the castle here. So kind of trying to incorporate that in here as well. But I did definitely do some different stuff with the roof. So I thought maybe like adding in some unique colors along this street would be cool, hence the green there. But I do like the darker blue of the roof, and it's, you know, it's obviously right, very jagged, something a little bit different. That does mean we have to add some glow lichen up there because it is not spawn proof. We don't want creepers spawning and jumping down on us. But yeah, it gives it a little more of that like wood tone, almost like this building. And I do like kind of splitting it up, right? Having the lower section be like maybe more tough or rocky, whereas these other builds are more of like that noisy, more like that noisy gradient. So we'll get a little bit of each of those, you know, throughout this city as we continue to build it here. One of my favorite features with this build, though, has got to be this little ladder here. And yep, there's no interior, right? So I just kind of fall down. But I do like the idea that, and you'll see with the next build we're going to add into the city, I really like the idea of having like split level, like living / store. And that's actually a common, not just on the street, but throughout, like where maybe this is like a shop front or something. Like this is, I don't know, like a bookstore or something. I guess this kind of does look like a book a little bit if you use your imagination. But yeah, let's say maybe this is a bookstore. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think it should be down in the comments. But like maybe this is a bookstore down here, and then like the librarian or, you know, bookseller person would live up here. So then each day at the end of the day, you know, they go back up to their house there. Also added in a little touch of pink that I thought worked nicely, just like a simple kind of like window shutter design. And it felt a little bit plain with just like the planks and the logs, like the strip logs. So I added in some signs and some ladders just for a little more detailing and texturing. Around back here, we're going to work on this in a little bit, but same kind of vibe just to keep the street lit. We have these little hanging lanterns that I first introduced way back when we started the city itself. And yeah, pretty plain, honestly, but again, that is by design. Now, if we look at this one, this is our very out there, interesting green kind of gradient house, you could call it. I don't know, maybe this one's just a house, because like honestly it's given like plant shop to me, but we already have a plant shop there. So maybe this could be like another plant shop, or this could be like an herbalist, like somebody who uses like makes like medicine and stuff with the plants, or like a potion house or something, because obviously I didn't do the interior. Guys, why would I do the interior? No, I will do them at some point, maybe on like a live stream or something, but for now, no interiors. But talking a little more about the exterior, right? They are divided up, very like earthy tones, right? Even like the bottom here, like the mud, the dripstone, it's all very like brown and earthy, divided by our little like chocolate square trap doors here. That's what I think these dark oak ones look like, but they're cool. I like it, right? It works with the roof. And then for the walls themselves, this is where it gets a little interesting. Using what is that? I think that's terracotta. Yeah, green terracotta. Yeah, that's not, I don't think that's concrete. It's not vibrant enough. I should. Oh, it is concrete. Oops, never mind. Using green concrete. We'll just pretend I didn't say that. With a little bit of moss, and then I was using melons and glow lichen, and it was actually Ash's den over on the Afterlife SMP. Shout out Ash, who showed me the joys of building with melons. But honestly, it was a little too vibrant, so I've used the glow lichen to kind of dull it down. And it does look cool. Like, I feel like it's fitting that, like whoever lives here, right, if they're an herbalist or whatever, like they might have lichen kind of growing on the side of their house or store, whatever. Yeah, and then for the roof, right, nothing too crazy. Pretty basic roof. For the most part, the city's gonna have these roofs, like I talked about a few episodes ago, and obviously like our like blacksmith smithing place. But I do have some unique ones here, and a couple more unique ones today. But not as much throughout the rest of the city. There's like kind of sections where you'll see like different roofs. Oh, last thing I wanted to point out, because we're actually going to have an alleyway here, I thought it might be cool to put some of these like divider-y shutter things here. Also because there's going to be something else in these blocks. It's kind of hard to explain now. You'll see in a couple minutes when I add this build. But yeah, I thought this might be cool to make it look like, maybe this house, right? Like they're more focused on their plants and stuff. Like they're not upkeeping the house too much. So like some of these have fallen off and, the moss is spread down here. But obviously their plants like in pristine shape here, as you would expect for a house like this. Okay. Enough of my yapping. You guys saw the builds. You know the gist of it. Let's go ahead and add one more build here behind me, and then I want to take a little break from the buildings and focus on that alleyway that I keep showing you guys behind me. But for now, go ahead and grab a snack. Man, you guys having lots of snacks this episode. Sorry about that, or you're welcome, whatever you prefer. But go ahead, grab a snack, get comfy, and we're going to work on this build right here behind me. I think this might be my favorite of the day. And there it is. Build number, I almost said 3. Actually, that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can count. I promise, guys. I made it past the first grade. But yeah, build number 4 is done. Now, obviously, this one's a little bit different from the others. I mean, it still has that kind of like split level feel that we get with these two. But this is supposed to be like, so I guess when you come into the still nameless city, it's just kind of going to be an area where if you're going to be shopping in some of these stores around here, like visiting friends or whatever, you can just come and store your horse here. I don't know, maybe the owner who lives upstairs here, like you have to pay them a fee or fine, like they have like parking meters or something. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. And in fact, I think maybe if we go out to the countryside, maybe I'll bring my horse over here for a little bit, and yeah, we can ride around the city a touch. But I thought this was a pretty cool design, right? Like it still kind of ties into the castle back here. And it fits well with everything else. And I think I've talked about before in previous episodes, like I want this kind of roof style and shape. And obviously I like the copper roofs. But I want this roof style and shape to kind of be the dominant theme here in the city. So that I'm carrying that. over. And I really like the like texturing here. So we kind of go between like this white gradient, right, with a lot of diorite and like bone blocks, and every now and then a touch of that white wool, just ever so slightly, and then it goes into the wood, which don't worry about it looking like really bad and splotchy over here. There's going to be a building covering this up because yeah, I got lazy. I guess you can kind of see that down here, but no, it looks fine. It looks fine. I also, just kind of like we added a ladder for house 2 over, I want to include this little staircase, right? And it makes sense now what I was talking about with the dark oak trapdoors like falling off, because actually, you know, they couldn't be here because these occupy the same block, so gotta get a little creative with that. No interior yet, but, you know, similar kind of roof here as down in the barn. And kind of cool, like you'll be able to look out and see these other builds here and like look around and see the city. And then there's just going to be an upstairs here. So maybe, I guess my thought would be maybe this is like the bedroom. Oh, I guess that is off angle. Don't worry about that. You guys can see that. But yeah, down here, maybe this could be like a kitchen and like living room, just like a small little house, maybe like a, you know, family of 2 or something lives there. But it's plenty big enough for them, right? And then they have a nice little area down here. Of course, you know, if the horses are hungry or thirsty, they have everything they need. And then the next thing I want to do is kind of continue this path. I want to take a little break from doing builds here. We have 2 more. Yeah, 2. Again, I can count. But I want to add in little path. There's going to be a little alleyway going just down here. And then I have something special planned for later in the episode that we're going to put right in this area. But before we jump into that time lapse, I want to show you guys some of the stuff I did in between episodes, because I did do a little bit. So one of the things you'll notice around here, especially in the countryside now, is just like little mossy carpets everywhere. Just to spawn proof things, I had initially like put down some glow lichen, I don't know, back when I built the stable. But I don't know, it looked kind of bad, especially when we open, oh, nope. There we go. When we open the world map, you can see like before there was glow lichen over here and it looked really weird, although kind of looks strange now, some of this stuff I'm going to show you in a second, but I think this works a lot better. I mean, it's not my favorite, like you can see the carpets, but I think once we add in some more like grass and like texturing and whatnot and make it feel a little more like natural and like landscaped, I guess, or terraform, not landscape, that would be less natural. But once it feels a little more natural, I think it's going to be pretty awesome. Just like some of the things I added into this little field here. So for starters, you can kind of see around the edges, it's not grass anymore. I added in moss because I didn't really like the brown we get, you know, when looking at this. Like everything's so brown, but I do want this to feel rather like green, I guess. So I tried this. I'd seen some people do this before when they do terraforming. Oh, got a little patch to finish up here. But added in some of that moss there. Obviously the mossy carpets we talked about. And then just like little touches of blue, as well as sprinkling in some bushes and some firefly bushes. Because I think I just want this to be like an open, grassy kind of meadow, right? This should feel like the countryside, right? Like it needs to feel very spaced out, right? And we have like these beautiful trees every now and then, but just like little pops of color across the street, and you know, like this flower bed that we built a couple episodes ago, right? Like your eyes just kind of get drawn to them, but as you're going along the way, there's just little touches of color here and there. And then I think at nighttime this looks really cool with the firefly bushes, although I don't love, like again, if you're looking at the map right there showing up in that yellow, I don't love how they fit into this field. But honestly, I think when we're looking, you know, back from up on the ridge there at nighttime, I mean, it's really cool. This just comes to life. Like this feels like you're out in, again, the countryside. Also, a little side note, I know I keep calling this place the countryside, and it is the countryside. Here, we'll grab Relish real quick. But I wouldn't be opposed to, you know, giving this like an official name, right? Like we can come up with something more creative than the countryside, I think, for this. So we'll have to work on that. A lot of names that we're gonna have to come up with this episode. All right, Relish, and we'll just pop you down. Oh, oh, right there. There we go. Maybe a little tight for space in here, but probably won't be too many horses here. And now that Relish is enjoying his new parking spot, I invite you to enjoy this brand new time lapse. Doesn't look like too much yet, but I promise you this is going to be a pretty cool little area back here, especially this part. I don't want to spoil too much of it yet. We'll save this probably for the last part of the episode, but this little pathway is, yeah, just kind of continuing. Here, if I go in a free camera real quick, continuing like sort of like this pathway, but it's meant to be a little more run down, right? So obviously the main roads in the city are going to be made out of cobble and this granite border, you know, with like the little sidewalks here. But this one, obviously a side street, not really too well maintained. And luckily, you know, we have these lanterns here to kind of light it up. But you can also see in some parts, right, we have this glow lichen that's kind of doing the heavy lifting as well. And then thought this was kind of cool, like where the path, you know, narrows or redirects a little bit, almost like it's fenced off, and that'll kind of come into play more with here. God, I'm having a hard time not spoiling my own build. But there's some cool stuff here, right? Some like more vegetation. And then this little like shrine almost I thought was cool. This is something I saw Fwip do, where he like built into like the walls of his city. So in this case, it's like the exterior castle wall. And maybe this is like a little shrine to a, you know, deity or something. And, you know, there's like a little flower here, Lily of the Valley, as an offering. So, yeah, just something a little cool. Maybe we'll add like more of these around here, or maybe even like upgrade this, make this a little more mosaic. This is like a small one, but we'll see what we can do. And then this, pretty cool. It's supposed to be like just graffiti. So obviously you're going to use your imagination, right? I'm going to add a few more builds in here. But, you know, it's going to be like the CDE back alley almost. And like, I don't know, some kids came here with spray paint cans and sprayed the exterior wall of the castle. But the nice thing is, right, you can't see it from the inside of the castle. So it's almost like they don't even really care about it, right? Because it's kind of out of sight, out of mind of the king. And then, yeah, there will be a little courtyard kind of thing, or like work area attached to this building. And then eventually, I'm kind of working on a design for it now, but eventually there will probably be like a wall that attaches here. So this will look like less abrupt. But for today, we're just going to have to live with it. All right, let's go ahead and get started on these final two builds. All right, you guys, the final two builds are in place, and we got some visitors. Our first visitors in the city in the new block. Yeah, don't you look at me like that. I was excited, but I mean, honestly, okay, brain coral. Give me emeralds. Oh, give me emeralds for spider eyes or fermented spider eyes. Okay. All right, you know what? Not bad, buddy. Not bad. Maybe he'll set up a shop. Ooh. He's going upstairs. He lives there. But distractions aside, here they are, the final two builds of the day, at least building builds. We're going to do a little bit more, but let's focus on these two first because they are different. They are out there. With the little bamboo build here, right? I wanted to tie in some more color, you know, because we had some neutral builds in a row here. Honestly, a lot of neutral builds aside from maybe this green one. So yeah, get a little more color in there. And then this one, obviously a little more neutral. Again, kind of like this one, very like natural feeling. Almost kind of looks like a little witch's hut. So maybe this is a potion shop, although I have a cool design for a potion shop. But hey, I mean, this city, if we go into free cam, this city's going to be huge. I mean, it's going to expand like all the way out here and around. So like, I don't know why we couldn't have two potion shops. Yeah. What do you think about that? Look, he thinks we could have two potion shops. So one thing with this build is that I really wanted to use dirt because, I mean, well, who uses dirt, right? That's kind of a weird thing, but I think it works, right? In this mud and packed brick, and maybe like, I don't know, maybe this was one of the first builds here in the city, right? One of the first like settlers in the area, so we can almost tie that in from a lore perspective. And then you can even see that maybe with like the glow lichen growing, and then, you know, again, doing like the very split level thing that I've been doing before, and it's almost like deteriorating here. So maybe like, I don't know, they got some foundation issues, stuff that I do not want to have to deal with in real life, but luckily this is silly block game. It is kind of weird going straight from the dirt to here. Like with all the other builds, I have like signs or trapdoors or something to divide it a little bit more, but honestly I think it kind of works. And especially from the front here, right, we have these little supports kind of sticking out with the stairs and the trapdoors, which I think works really well. So I don't care too much about it from the side. And like I mentioned previously in the video, there's going to be like a big wall here and maybe like a big gatehouse, so you're not going to really see that too much. You're kind of going to be in awe of all the builds around you, so not too worried about that. Just like I was not too worried about building an interior for this one just yet, because you know what? Who has time for that? Last little part of this one, I'll show you guys the roof. This is supposed to kind of be like a gutter system. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really go anywhere. So I don't know. Maybe this is a little like too high tech for the city right now, since it's more like medievally, but I don't know. I like it, so I'm gonna leave it for now. Maybe we'll change it eventually. And then of course we got to add in a little fireplace here, right? A little chimney, because well, we added one down here on the block. Oop, I'm on the greenhouse now. We added one down here and we had one over there, and then one that doesn't work here, but eventually, right, we're gonna see kind of like, oh, that worked perfectly. Kind of like you could see with Midtown, all these different chimneys and the smoke going up. But eventually when we have like, I don't know, 100 different builds in here, maybe we'll take some out because, I don't know, that could cause a lot of lag. All right, moving on to this build. I think this is going to be like the bamboo barracks or barracks. I never get that word right, but basically where a lot of our soldiers or guards for the city are stationed, which makes sense because this is going to be like the main entrance, also the main entrance into the castle. And inside the castle, you know, eventually we'll have a place for guards, but I think it makes sense logistically, at least, right, that they would have some guards stationed right around here. This is a pretty important part of the city. And then, you know, if Midtown needs help as well, they can just kind of come down from here too. Starting out on this side here, This, I guess we could make it more of a training yard, you know. The wall might be right here, but we could also add in like some like little archery things for them to like shoot at, like training dummies and stuff. But more so than anything, maybe they're just out here like they have storage, or they're like, you know, smithing and making weapons and stuff on the anvil and the grindstone, all that good stuff. Around back too, now you can kind of see how whoa, little light, but now you can see how the alleyway works, right? It feels a lot more like narrow, especially here. Like you definitely can't get a horse through. Somebody would have to jump off and spray paint, or you know, you cut back through here to make your offering to your deity or whatever. So I think that works a lot better. And again, not too pressed with the backs of the builds, right? They look fine, but nobody's really going to see them. I also wanted to point out I didn't do any windows on the backs of these, almost as if like they're not allowed to, like, because this goes over the castle walls. Maybe there's like a law that says like, hey, if you are in this first row here, like you can't have windows here, you can't see into the castle, like official business. I don't know, that feels kind of like Big Brother 1984ish, and I like that. I think maybe that's yeah, maybe that's a cool little bit of lore that we can incorporate in. So it's not that I'm lazy and didn't want to detail the back, it's that the king won't allow it. But back to the front of the build, it is very yellow. We have the scaffolding that we can kind of see throughout a lot of these windows. And then I decided to go with the loom block, which is, spoiler alert, a really common theme in the city. I have like totally fallen in love with the loom block. I think it is so cool, like the side texture. Don't really care for the rest of it, but the side, and actually I use the bottom in a couple places too. So there's a little life hack for you. That looks like a cool, like, I don't know, some sort of cool rooftop, or like roof, like when you're looking up at it. Yeah, though, loom block, guys, underrated. I like building with it a lot. But just to wrap things up with this build, right, we have the chiseled tough block around the bottom, just something a little bit different to kind of break up the random pattern. And then we have some bricks, a little bit of lichen, same kind of vibe, where this is maybe in need of a little bit of attention. And then inside, no guard post yet, but maybe we can change that eventually. And with that out of the way, the entire city block is done, but I want to work on this area right here behind me. I'm not going to give it away yet, so you guys will have to sit through the time lapse to figure out what it is, but trust me, it is worth it. So if you stuck around, thanks, and you are in for a treat. And here it is, the surprise that kept you guys on your toes all episode is here. So obviously the main part here is the cemetery, or I was calling it the graveyard. And I just kind of mixed in a whole lot of the foliage, right? We got a lot of glow lichen, the new bushes, firefly bushes, grass, tall grass, whatever. And mix it in with a bunch of like dirt and mud and stuff. Almost like this is kind of unkept. again, right, it's, you know, outside of the king's eyes or whatever, so this has kind of just been left untouched. And then obviously a couple more trees dotted around here. We had this tree there before, but I really like the idea of maybe putting like a little forest here, you know, and it's nothing too special right now. Like I was hoping it would have more of an effect, but it is really cool kind of how as you get closer, you know, to this dilapidated gatehouse, right, you like kind of have the mountain framed. Like I think it'd be really cool. I think I counted, maybe we could add like, I don't know, 10, 15 more trees like along here, just like a little forest along here. So it really feels like more grand as you enter the city, and then, you know, you kind of get to this point right here, and it's like, wow, oh my God, like the mountain, like you're just hit with it. Obviously, still very untextured and totally finished in the back. But from here, at least, right, you're like, whoa, it's this big, huge, awesome terraforming project that kind of totally doesn't just jut up out of the ground on its own. So I think that would be pretty cool, though, to add in like a little bit more here. I don't know, maybe we'll do that next episode or something. And then, yeah, for this gatehouse, right, I guess the more trees would kind of frame this a little bit better as well. But I think it looks pretty awesome. Like this is another entrance into the city, right? The whole idea is, if I go into free cam here, like at all the entry points, like there'll be some over here as well. And then like the main area over here by our bamboo barracks, right? They're all going to be, you know, walled off in some sense or whatever, but not every area is as well kept. And that's kind of obvious here, right? With the plant life, a lot of this pale hanging moss, I think it is called, is taking over. And then a little building tip that I picked up from Fwip to get some of these, you know, greener blocks and like grass blocks and stuff. You can use the new gray pale moss. I say new, it's been out for like 6 months, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? New-ish pale moss, and that way you can kind of keep like the gray black theme we have going on here. But you can get some of that green like overgrownness in there. But yeah, I'm super happy with how this turned out, right? It's obviously unkept, like parts have fallen off. And it looks like, you know, it's kind of chiseled away. Like you can see some places where like the stairs are gone or there's slabs, whatever. And then same thing for the cemetery, right? Almost like this is falling apart. Some of the bars are missing, but you can still walk in here. Like even this wall over here from the little alleyway, right? Or maybe this used to be the entrance. Who knows? It looks like everything is kind of pretty unkept here, but there are definitely still some signs of life, like people putting candles here. But I want this to be a little more immersive, right? I don't want this to just be a build. I want this to serve a purpose. So if you've been following the world for a while, you might have a hunch as to where I'm going with this. So way over here by our little starter village, we have a couple of buddies that we've lost along the way. The first one here is the Frienderman. Actually, he was the second one we lost, but the Frienderman, right? I was working on the castle, the undertow of the castle, and he unfortunately turned on us. So in the end, he was not a friend, but we still, you know, mourn his passing. And then of course, Golemy the Golem, who I accidentally aggroed when we were moving our villagers from here all the way into there. Gosh, that was, yeah, 2 years ago at this point. And yeah, it's actually crazy. Some of these guys were like, Frienderman was around for 2 years, and a lot of these other people in our world, or I guess friends in our world, like the lonely villager who's just been hanging out up here for coming up on 3,000 days. And then, you know, a lot of our pets and whatnot. I think that it would be pretty cool to use the cemetery for them when, you know, in the unfortunate event that they pass, as, you know, some people do, then, yeah, we will use that for them. So right now, we're going to very carefully transport these guys over to their final resting place in the city. And there you have it, guys. Golemy the Golem and the Frienderman move to their final resting place, and hopefully this doesn't fill up too soon, but God forbid, right? We do have a lot of space in here, and it's been a little over 3 years since I started the world. Wow, that feels crazy to say out loud, but we've only lost these two, and hopefully it stays that way. So if need be, we will start filling this place up, but hopefully, knock on wood here, we will not have to fill it up anymore. But with that out of the way, that rather somber note, sorry about that, it kind of got serious there for a second. Don't worry, this is just a silly block game, it's not that deep. But with that out of the way, I just want to thank you all so much for watching. If you're still here, wow, that is awesome. I super appreciate it. Maybe one final plug, like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you want to see next. I am waiting on a few mods to update. I'm hoping to go hunting for the Happy Gas next episode, but we'll see. I'm gonna have to come up with something cool for the Happy Gas here in the city, but I'll get working on that. And in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.